What's going on, boys and girls? My name is SiahZ, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys my CRYO turret Zane build. Now this build revolves around using the Butcher. Now the Butcher recently got a buff back on June 10th that increased its damage by 83%, and it also got an increased chance for the magazine to refill when fired. So basically this gun never runs out of ammo, like you barely have to reload it now, and its damage is great now. This weapon acts like it shreds any enemy that comes in contact with it. You can basically run any takedown, like even with the crowd thing like this, you basically don't even have to swap elements because we're running Revolter. But I do have a fire just in case we're running into those, heavies that are immune to cryo. So if you want to just flop over to a fire, you can just, shred those down real quick and then swap back to your cryo. And for some reason, if you want to do Guardian Takedown, the Guardian Takedown's so annoying. I do have a Shock Butcher here for you guys just to shred the, to shred those enemies. Let's get into running for class mods and stuff. Now for our class mod, we are running Seeing Dead. Seeing Dead is just such a good class mod. Basically what Seeing Dead allows us to do is it allows us to automatically activate all of our kill skills whenever we damage an enemy. Well, it has a chance to do that, and all of our kill skills gain a 10% increased effect bonus. So couple that with Violent Violence for a more fire rate from Butcher. We're basically shooting the Butcher at insane fire rate speed. It's basically like you're shooting a turret at this point, like a minigun. So this basically allows us to keep our uptime 100% for all of our kill skills. So for our relic, we are going to be running Pearl. Now with my testing, the Pearl is one of the best relic for this build, just because we're, like I said, shooting so fast that we're going to be at max stacks. Now, what the Pearl does is basically it gets us 1% increased damage per hit, and we get what we call a max of 15 times for that. So that's 50% increased damage, and then while we're at max stacks, it adds a 90% damage bonus on top of our 15%. So like I said, with our fire rate, we're basically going to be having this up all the time. So the Pearl is one of the best values we can run. Also, what I wanted to say real quick is I haven't really tested Hustlers. It could be an alternative class one we could be running, but I really haven't tested it. So I will have to test that more and kind of see how Hustlers plays, but Hustler may be a good alternative to Seeing Dead if you didn't want to run that, but Seeing Dead is one of our best class ones we can run for this. For our nades really don't matter for this build that we're going with, but I'm just running its piss right now, just for the damage, increase that it gives whenever we do pop it off. But like I said, we'd never really reload the Butcher, so we're never really going to see any of our nades pop, and we're not running Sentinel either. So for our shield, we're going to be running Revolter. I've tested a lot with other shields, but Revolter is the one I keep coming back to. And it really does help too, because just the electric damage or the shock damage that we're going to get from Revolter when shooting our gun, it helps so much when dealing with shielded enemies. Like I said, you basically never need to swap over from the our main gun, the Cryo Butcher here, just because with the Revolter shock damage and the fire rate from the the Butcher, we're never really going to need to worry about swapping to our Shock Butcher to deal with shielded enemies. Now we are running CRYO Plague Bearer just for second wins when we go down. Did also miss to say that we could you could run a Icebreaker, but Pearl is the best one that I've tested with, but I did throw an Icebreaker in here as well as a Snowdrift just for farming and stuff like that and getting around the map, and then a Company Man. So with that being said and the gear out of the way, let's get straight into the skill tree. So starting down the Sentinel tree, we're going to be putting 5 out of 5 in Violent Speed and 5 out of 5 in Violent Momentum. Now, Violent Speed gives us more movement speed whenever we kill an enemy, and Violent Momentum gives us more gun damage based on how fast we're moving. So these two pair really nicely with each other, and we're going to get a big damage boost with these two. Now we're going to be running 3 into Cool Hand, just because, like I said, we kind of just need to throw some points into here, just so we can get down and grab Death Follows Close. We're never really going to be reloading, so you're not going to see the reload speed really have an effect with this build, but it is nice just to have that there if you are running in your Plague Bearer or something like that for second wins and you reload, or if you do happen to somehow reload when shooting the Butcher, because it does happen once or twice throughout running through a takedown or something like that. So it is nice to have a little bit more reload speed. Now we are going to running Salvation. This is going to be our main survivability skill. Basically, the reason why we don't max this out is because we're shooting so fast, we're doing so much damage that having 5 out of 5 in the Salvation really is no point. It's just kind of overhealing us, and we really don't need that much heals. So I only put 3 points in here. That's enough to basically keep us at full health, and we can use those 2 other points to put in somewhere else. We're going to be running 1 and the 1 and Seeing Dead, just because we're going to get kill skill bonuses, and it does help our kill skills, kind of increases their effect and stuff like that. And then we're going to be running 5 out of 5 in Violent Violence, like I said, for that fire rate, coupled with our Seeing Dead class mod to boost us even more. It's just insane amount of fire rate, and it helps our DPS and basically puts the Butcher at a minigun level fire rate. We're going to be running 2 out of 5 for playing dirty, just because that gets us 5 out of 5 with our class mod. So our extra shot chance is 75, and we really don't need to put any more in there. We run 1 out of 3 in Good Misfortune, just so we can get some, action skill duration back whenever we kill an enemy. And this basically allows us to keep our shield up that we're going to be running for survivability and stuff like that. And then 1 out of 1 for Death Follows Close, just so our kill skills get increased duration and a bonus. Now for our orange trait, we're going to be running 5 out of 5 in Synchronicity. This basically gives us 20% gun damage per active action skill. So this gives us more gun damage, which increases our DPS. And we're going to be throwing 3 out of 5 into Donnybrook. Basically, it's it gives us more gun damage and health regen. More gun damage is always better and always helps, and that little bit of health regen helps for survivability. For our shield tree, we're basically going into this tree just so we can get the shield, and we can get the all-arounder, which makes our shield a dome. So we're going to be throwing 3 out of 3 in Hardy Stock, just so we can get our max shields increased. That helps with the survivability of the build, because I was testing this build with just throwing a few points of remainder in here, like 3-4 points that I had, but the survivability for running the takedowns severely went down. So I wanted to try out running Dome Shield, and with Dome Shield, we basically never go down while running the takedowns. So we're going to be running 3 out of 3 in Hardy Stock, like I said, for max shields. And then we're going to have to throw some more points to get down into the next set of trees. So we're going to be running 3 out of 5 and Adrenaline. Basically just gives us action skill cooldown rate. And then 1 in the 5 for Brain Freeze, just so we can get a little bit of slow chance. Helps us and pairs nicely with the CRYO Butcher. And then we're going to be running 3 out of 3 in Stiff Upper Lip for damage resistance, which again, we kind of just have to put some points somewhere so we can get down for all-arounder to make our shield a dome. So I figured putting points into here helps with survivability, because it gives us a damage resistance whenever we get damaged to that type. So it's definitely good. So 3 out of 3 into here just so we can get all-arounder. And then we're going to be running Charge Relay. Now for Purple Tree, we're going to be running 5 out of 5 in Mana Focus. This basically gives us, whenever we activate an action skill, it grants us increased accuracy and handling. And this basically is the best we can do for the, top. We kind of got to get down here to get the other skills, and these two really do nothing for us. So 5 out of 5 into there. And then we go 5 out of 5 in Heads in Hand for, more crit damage. And we go in 5 out of 5 for Commitment. What Commitment allows us to do is basically just more gun damage, action skill, cooldown rate. And then we go into Fugitive, so this way we can sprint and shoot at the same time. It does help us for the gun damage and stuff like that when we're going into bosses and so on and so forth. And it's just nice to be able to sprint and shoot to get out of some situations and move around the map. Now we go 5 out of 5 in Domino Effect. This basically allows us, whenever we crit, we get increased fire rate and reload speed. If we crit with our action skill, the effect doubles. So more fire rate, and then basically is what we're going in for. Like I said, the reload speed we're never really going to see, but the fire rate makes, like I said, our gun basically shoot at minigun fire rate. And then we're going to be going 1 out of 3 in Sheer Will for just more cooldown rate, and we kind of have to put a point into somewhere because we need to get down into our man Flint, so we put 1 point in it there, and then we go 3 out of 3 in Eraser. Basically what this allows us to do is when we crit, our bullets, they'll create a new projectile and go through the enemy again, and that'll get increased damage, and this can keep happening over and over and over again. So you see right there, every time that we pierce an enemy, we get 120% damage. So when we crit, it'll create another projectile, hit again, and if the crit spot's big enough, or we're at a right angle, it'll crit again, and it'll do 120% increased damage. So this is how we kind of get our big chunks and real quick kills when going against bosses and stuff. So this is such a good skill to spec into. And then for the last point, we're going to put into our man Flint, and this allows us Basically, when aiming down the sights of our weapons, we do increase bonus damage, and we automatically apply our status effects. So this is helpful when going for cryo and stuff like that. And now for augments for Mantis, you're going to be running Cold Shoulder, so we can change the Mantis cannon damage into cryo. And then we're going to be running Proliferation. And this basically allows us to get additional charges, which pairs nicely with seeing red, and increases the damage with the Mantis cannon, which gives us a little bit more DPS. And like I said, for our shield, we're just going to be running Charge Relay for the movement speed, and that'll couple nicely with Violent Momentum for more damage, and then Dome Shield for survivability. And that basically covers it for the skill tree. So that's it for this build, guys. This build absolutely shreds, like I said, no matter what type of content you're doing or what type of bosses or enemies you're going against, this build will shred them down in an instant. Also, if you guys want to access the save file and pop in this character and try it out immediately, I'll have the link for my Discord down in the description. Pop in there, go onto the Borderlands 3 save file channel, and you can download the save file directly from there. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm, gets my video out there to more people, and just generally tells me that you guys are enjoying this type of content. Also, if you want to get notified when new videos come out, definitely hit that subscribe button, that notify bell, and it will notify like I said, when new videos come out. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. So I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.